Hi, 8th grade. So we are going to go over 4.2, which is slope. I need you to grab this graphic organizer. I don't remember which number it is, but it's got the definition area and then 3 examples. And you can also grab this one. I'm not sure if we'll write anything on it right now, but have both of them in your binder. You can pause the video to go get them. Remember, you can rewind and pause this whenever you need to. When you get your papers, though, I need you to write 4.2 and slope on both of them. Now, this section is jam-packed with a lot of information, but actually most of it you already know. There's just one thing that's new. Okay, so let's go over to your graphic organizer. I want you to write this at the very top. Slope, y equals mx plus b, point to the m. We know that slope is m, okay? So if I was talking about m, you guys would know I'm talking about the slope. There's something else you already know about slope, and that is slope equals rise over run. And we also know that slope is a fraction. So these are all the things we already know about slope. Here's one more thing you might not have known. I have a very, very special formula to use if I don't have a graph and they give me 2 points. I'll do more examples about this in a second. So it'll make sense in one moment. We're going to say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the big important thing out of today's lesson, okay? You already know a lot of today's things, but this guy is new. So before we just jump right in, let's talk about some of the other things that are in this section that are things you already know. The first thing you should already know is how to tell the difference between a positive and a negative slope. You can use my little mouse trick, where this actually might work now because I don't have a blank piece of paper ruining it. So if I have a little mousey and he's running along the y-axis, as soon as he hits that line, he still goes forward. He can't go down, right? He still goes forward. So he runs, and he hits that line and it goes up, 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 up. If that's the case and the mouse goes up, it's positive, okay? But now let's use that same little mousey over here. If he's running along the line and he hits the green, he can't now go up, right? He has to keep going forward. So he runs, and now he slides down. If mousey goes down, that's a negative slope. So those are 2 things you should already know, negative and positive. But we're also going to go put it down here in this extra room. Just go ahead and draw me 2 quick little graphs. You can draw me a positive line, and then I'm going to use red for negative, and then underneath we'll go ahead and label. This is negative slope. And this is positive slope. Something else that we learned last section is that if I have a line that looks like this, that doesn't mean slope doesn't exist. Slope does exist. It's just that slope is flat, which means slope equals 0. Okay? And then we had one more. If slope was straight up and down. That one was different. Slope is not 0. Slope does not exist. Undefined. Okay. So this section wastes a whole lot of time explaining all of those things. You already know all of those things, okay? That's why I'm kind of going through it kind of quick. Another thing that you already know is if I gave you this graph right there, and I said, find the slope, well, here's what I would hope you would do. You would start at either this point, or you could start at this point. It doesn't matter which one you start with, as long as you do your rise, then your run. Okay, remember, rise means up or down, and run means left or right. So here's what I like to do. I like to start with the one that they give me the most left, because I read left to right, and so it's just my brain automatically starts here. Okay, now from there, I just go ahead and count. How many do I need to go up or down to match this level? Well, obviously I'm going to be going downward, okay? So from this point, I'm going to go down 1. Now down means negative, so I'm going to start with negative 1. Now, how many do I run over? 5, positive. So my slope is negative 1/5. Remember, rise over run. How many do I need to go up to get to this level? 2. So up 2. How many do I run? 6. 2, 6. Now I can reduce that. Take out a 2, take out a 2. That would give me 1/3. So my slope on this line is 1/3. And let's do this one last time. How many do I rise to get from here to this level? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go up 5 and then I go over 2. So my slope of that is 2/5, okay? Now looking at those three, I can tell that there's only one negative slope because this is the only line that's going that way, whereas all the other lines are going upwards, right? Also, in my answers, these two were positive, that one was negative. Now, to me, that's a fairly easy concept, okay? And I'm hoping it is for you too. Whereas if I just gave you, like, look at these examples, 7 through 12, if I just gave you those and said find the slope, I would hope that you would be able to do the rise over the run. Remember, it doesn't matter which point you start at, it just matters that if you use your run or your rise first. Okay, so I have to go from here. How do I get to this level? Well, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, how many did I go down? 5? Down 5, and then that would be a negative because I went down. And then I ran over 1, 2, 3, 4. I went positive because I went right, okay? So I'm not going to waste too much time on that. I hope you understand it. I will point out these last two, though, 11 and 12. What is the slope of 11? Well, it's 0 because it's flat. What is the slope of 12? Undefined because it's straight up and down. Okay, so like I said, this lesson is jam-packed with a ton of information, but it's all that. Like, that's very easy information, right? You know how to do that. You know the difference between undefined and 0 for slope, okay? So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Now, here is where that new thing comes from. Let's say you just had a set of coordinates like that, okay? Just those. If I said, find me the slope, and you were not allowed to graph it, here's how you would do that. We're going to go back to this graphic organizer. I want you to go ahead and write -3, -1, and 3, 4 in the first example. Now, we are going to use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? My first job is to designate who is x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. Well, here's the easy thing. In an ordered pair, this is x comma y, right? X comma y. Now, this is super simple. Just pick a point. I don't care if you start in the bottom one or the top one. I'll start with the top. This is x1. This is y1. This is x2. This is y2. Okay? That's simple. Just designate, tell me who is who. Once you've done that, now you can go plug them in, okay? So I'm going to go over here a little bit. Who is y2? 4. Who is y1? -1. Now remember, in the formula we are subtracting, so it actually will look like this. 4 minus -1 over x2 is 3. 3 minus -3. Now just solve it. These are double negatives, so we just yeet them over to make pluses. 4 plus 1 is 5. 3 plus 3 is 6. That is your slope, 5/6. Okay? And that would be a positive slope. Let's go do another one. My job is to first just designate who is who. 1, 1, 2, 2. Now just go and plug them in. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus y1. And then you just do the math. These would make a double negative, so it's actually going to be 3 plus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, so it'd be 11 over, now 5, take away 5 is 0. Now let's do a quick little reminder. Can I ever have 0 in the denominator? No, I can have 0 in the numerator. That's fine, that just equals 0. But I can never have 0 in the denominator. So in this case, the answer is undefined. Which means if I were to actually plot those 2 points on a graph, it would just be a straight up and down line through them. Over 5, or sorry, over and then down 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And then over 5, up 8. Do you see how that line would go straight through there? Make sure you're drawing and writing down everything that I am so I can come and correct these and give you guys points, okay? Okay, let's do another one. My job is to first designate who is who. 1, 1, 2, 2. All right, so it's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then go ahead and do the math. 6 minus 6 is 0. This is actually 2 plus 3, which is 5. Now, unlike that one up there, I can have 0 in the numerator. That's fine. Slope will equal 0. And if I were to graph it, it would look like this. -3 up 6 and over 2 up 6, which is what we wanted, right? We wanted it to be a horizontal line because slope is 0. All right, guys, that's basically the most important part of this chapter. It looks like it's really long, tons of example problems, which is ridiculous. But the big thing here is that if you just had these points, and that was it, you can use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find the slope. And you will need that for later. I know that seems like that's just a, well, what if thing. But eventually in these chapters, it will get more difficult and you will need that, okay? Now, I'm looking through the example problems. One more thing I think I need to tell you that's kind of important, not really, but let's go back to our graphic organizer. Down here, where we have just a tiny bit of room left, we have another little like idea to go put down here. If 2 points have the same slope, they will be parallel. I'm not going to write the word parallel because I know I'm not going to spell it right, but like, there you go. That's a good symbol for parallel. Okay? If 2 points have the same slope, they will be parallel. So what I mean by that is look over at, these questions, 4, 5, and 6 says, see these 2 points? Give them the same slope of 1 over 1 and see what happens. So let's start at the pink. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, or I could go down 1, back 1, down 1, back 1, down 1, back 1. If I were to draw a line through there, and then let's do the same with the black. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, or I could say down 1, back 1, down 1, back 1, so on and so forth. If I were to draw a line through those, they would be parallel. Same thing with this one. The slope is -3 over 1. So if I went down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, or if I went from the pink point, I can go up 3, back 1, up 3, back 1. So that's what these first 3 problems want you to realize, is that if 2 points have the same slope, they will be parallel. I do think this is a fairly easy section. Now, since you guys don't have the practice journal pages yet, this is where it's going to be super important that you actually watched my video, because now you'll know what your exit ticket is for the day. I want you to go grab a note card for when we did our check-ins, okay? And on your note card, you're going to write 4.2 and your name. You're going to do number 1, number 2. Yeah, I should write it like how their boxes are. Okay, so we'll say number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. You don't have this, so you have to watch the video to know what they are. All I need you to do is find the slope of these lines. Okay, these are so easy. I'll zoom in on each one. So for example, in number 1, if I wanted you to get from here to here, how many would you rise, and then how many would you run? Super easy, right? Same thing with down here. how many would you rise, how many would you run, or how many would you go down, and then how many would you go over. Now, remember, if you get a number, I don't know what the answer is, but what if the answer was like 6/4? You can reduce, okay? Make sure you remember to reduce things. I believe this one will reduce nicely. And 3 and 4. Tell me what the slope is. Tell me what the slope is. You did write these down in your graphic organizer today. So hopefully you do very well. It'll be worth 4 points. That's a lot for a check-in, or sorry, an exit ticket. But it's also a great way for me to know if you actually watched the video or not. I will be checking your notes when I get back, and I should be back Wednesday. All right. Thanks, 8th grade.